On Easter Monday 2016, Lincolnshire lorry mechanic and motorcycle racer Guy Martin faced his biggest challenge yet. He wanted to set a new world record by becoming the fastest ever rider on a wall of death.
Guy Martin going for a piece of history.
In front of hundreds of people in the arena and millions at home watching live. With behind-the-scenes access.
Can I just go for a piece?
Never before seen footage.
Bloody hell! No, I didn't like that.
And eyewitness accounts from friends and family.
And I went up to her and I said, "Are you all right?" And he looked a little bit spaced out to me.
This is the story of the biggest night of Guy Martin's life.
There's a lot of people in there, isn't there?
This is behind the scenes of Guy Martin's Wall of Death live. The evening was the culmination of 2 years' work, captured by 18 cameras and a crew of 120.
I biked up from Grimsby, leaving work where I got to work, and then I come here. And you just can see it from 2 miles away, all the trucks, all the goings on here. And really, I don't want to think about it, but really, that's for me, isn't it? It's all for me. And I just think, oh.
For his part, Guy was going to rely on just a select few. Girlfriend Sharon.
My friend just got engaged at the Wall of Death.
His father Ian.
Oh, proudest bloke on the planet.
Beloved pet Nigel, complete with colour-coordinated Wall of Death dog collar. And trusted mechanics Curly Porter.
That's quite an honour. Gonna be good, yeah.
And Cammy Whitworth.
Just done it together and just had a right laughing process as well.
It's a team Guy trusts implicitly.
Curly Cammy. Cammy Curly. Curly Cammy. Bit of crack, bit of banter, but when it comes to it, very precise. No joking, no fucking about. That's without blowing his hoot. Yeah. So yeah, but that's it. Right, we'll sit down with the dog. The dog and Shazza. Shazza keeps the job down.
We want to do live shots pulling off, and then
The countdown to the live broadcast had begun.
5.5 minutes. 5.5 minutes.
Till what?
On air.
Blissfully unaware that the programme was about to start.
1, 2, 3.
Guy was showing no signs of nerves.
I'm at that stage now where I'm just going through emotions. That's all it is, hopefully.
Let me see your hand.
Just going through emotions. He says.
The preparations were over. Presenter Steve Jones started the 90-minute transmission.
Tonight, live, this man will attempt to ride a motorcycle around this vertical wall and set a new world speed record.
The magnitude of what Guy and his team were trying to achieve finally sank in.
If you're after a gentle evening's viewing, you're on the wrong channel.
It was going to be the most audacious attempt ever conceived in the long history of this ultimate daredevil's stunt show.
Look out there on the far side!
The Wall of Death's roots lie in the early 1900s. Motordrome racing was the most popular motorsport in America.
Round and round they go.
Where bikes raced on steeply banked wooden circuits. The banking meant riders could maintain higher speeds. But crashes became common, and deaths were all too frequent. In 1912, a rider called Eddie Hasher lost control while doing 92 miles per hour. The crash killed him, 6 spectators, and another rider. The nation was outraged, and the New York Times coined the phrase, Murderdrome. The name stuck, and the sport went into decline. By 1919, it had disappeared completely. The daredevil riders then worked out that if a track was vertical, they could stick to it if they rode fast enough because of the centrifugal forces involved. This death-defying stunt drew massive crowds, and the Wall of Death was born. The first UK wall appeared in Southend in 1929. Soon, over 50 walls were touring Britain, and the competition to stand out was fierce. At least 2 shows featured lions riding the wall. This is Monarch with his owner, Fearless Egbert.
And now Fearless Egbert and his jungle passenger are off on their circular tour.
Apparently, Monarch first jumped into the Wall of Death car when he was just 3 weeks old. He never needed to be strapped in and growled if Egbert didn't go fast enough. The fastest anyone had ever previously ridden a Wall of Death was an unofficial 48 miles per hour. But as Guy was told on the night, he'd have to ride a lot faster than that to achieve a Guinness World Record.
Because it's a brand new record, we've set a minimum requirement for 60 miles per hour. So in order to achieve this record, you'd have to go do 1 revolution in 4.3 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
It was a daunting prospect. When Guy started the project, he'd never even ridden a vertical wall. Luckily, he had a brilliant teacher.
And here he is, doing what he does best, the greatest Wall of Death rider alive. Ken Fox, everyone! Woo! Come join us, Ken! All right, boss. You make that look so easy. It's fantastic, Ken. Thank you very much. Man. First question, what was this man like as a pupil?
Well, once he learned to put his hands up to go to the toilet, he was all right. My name's Ken Fox, and I'm the proprietor of one of the last remaining walls of death still operating in England.
Ken Fox is the man, isn't he? It's probably about a 15-minute show that they do. Brilliant, brilliant.
The acrobatics and tricks start up on the Indian Scout. It's a 1925.
Gets the bike up on the wall, and then he just starts walking over his bike. Sits on the handlebars, stands on the side plate, stands on the seat side, waving at the crowd. People can't believe what they're seeing.
You've got to do it with skill. It's no good doing it on adrenaline. It's no good doing it because you're a hero. You've got to do it on the skill that you're being taught and learned.
Guy first met Ken Fox to begin training in January 2015.
No better man to teach anyone about riding walls of death. You've been doing this 40 years.
Yeah, my dad did.
And your dad was doing it before you?
Yeah,
your granddad was doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, my kids do it, my daughter-in-law's do it, my niece does it, we all do it. We don't know anything else.
It's what you do.
Yeah, that's what we do. Do some roundabouts.
Right, I mean, I can ride a motorbike.
Yeah.
Sort of. But I know nothing about riding a wall of death.
What you need is just a real calm attitude.
Yeah.
You can't let the adrenaline work on you. You've got to keep the adrenaline down to a very, very minimum.
I've got a lot to learn, haven't I?
Yeah. Slow, and build it up.
Come on then, let's get stuck in.
Yeah, go on, let's go downstairs. Yeah.
It's going to be easy, this, is it?
This unseen sequence is Guy's first ever time on the wall, which was as a passenger.
All right. Yeah. Have you done this before?
Ken's wall measures 10 meters in diameter. He has to ride at around 20 miles per hour to make sure he sticks to the sides.
Okay. Yes, Bob. Give him a real wave.
At that speed, he can pull 2.5 G. Any faster, and you start greying out and are in danger of totally losing vision. Ken has a unique way of demonstrating this blinding effect to his passengers.
When you black out, it feels like that. Yeah. No, I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
Little did Guy know, it was a sensation he'd have to brave again during his record attempts. But for now, there was another physical problem.
Yeah,
okay.
Dizzy, mate. Yeah, dizzy, mate. Dizzy,
Okay.
mate. Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, spot on. I feel dizzy. Yeah. He stopped, but I didn't stop. My head was going round like Billy-o. And I thought, oh no, this isn't going to be easy.
Oh, you want them to have a little toddle on the motorbike then?
Please.
Right, on the track.
Over the next 2 days of training,
A little faster.
Guy had a crash.
My brain couldn't cope with it, and everything was just, ooh, and I crashed.
And another one.
Tommy?
Sorry, boy. Sorry, boy.
You all right? Yeah. You good?
Just a bit dizzy.
But once he'd conquered his dizziness, he quickly mastered safely riding on the wall.
It doesn't look easy. It doesn't look easy. It's not easy. It's fair, but it's just it's mega.
Everything was going according to plan, and Guy was confident he'd be able to ride the biggest wall of death ever built. But then events took a terrifying turn and jeopardized the whole project.
Martin's down!
Guy Martin's world record attempt to become the fastest ever rider on a wall of death was going to be a national event, broadcast live on television. Guy's mechanic, Cammy, had been given special instructions.
They all told us not to swear, so don't be like, and all that, so we were wary of that.
The wall itself, the largest ever constructed, underwent safety checks throughout the evening. It was based on the science of Cambridge University's Dr. Hugh Hunt, who met Guy at the same Lincolnshire hangar a year earlier for some lessons in the laws of motion.
This is looking rather complicated, boy.
Ah, not complicated.
But we're not at GCSE here, are we?
And there it is, Hugh's equation still on the wall of the hangar. And Hugh, it has to be said, it's incredible that your equation has created this massive wall of death.
Well, incredible, but they're not my equations.
Oh.
Isaac Newton.
Big in the gravity game, yes.
Yeah, big in Lincolnshire, because he's home. Grantham, just down the road.
I didn't know that.
It crossed my mind a couple of weeks ago that if this went horribly wrong, somehow the laws of physics would be seen to be to blame. But actually, the laws of physics are there to help us make it go well. What I kind of envisage is that there are going to be kids at school who are doing this kind of stuff in their maths and physics, who'll be watching this with their mums and dads and aunts and uncles and say, "Hey mum, this is what we're doing at school." And they'll go into school after the holidays and their teachers will say, "Who watched Guy Martin's Wall of Death?" "Well, okay, now let's have a look at the maths behind that." If this ball is going around in a circle,
Yes.
the string is taut. There's tension in the string.
Yep. For me, that's the centrifugal force coming from the ball holding that string tight. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, that's what most people will say, and that's
not right.
It's okay, but really the force that exists is the string tension, and it's called a centripetal force.
Right.
And now centripetal means a force towards the centre, and centrifugal is a force away from the centre.
Right.
So the centripetal force is the string force pulling the ball to the centre. Okay.
Right. Yep.
And the centrifugal force is the apparent force, and that's the force that you feel sticking you to the wall of death. It's all about relevance. If you understand some of these things, you understand the world around you, you begin to understand how it is that satellites go into orbit. I understand how the moon goes around the Earth. This takes your thinking, your brain into a new place, and that's brilliant.
With enough G-force, any type of vehicle, no matter how heavy, can stick to any type of wall. Hugh had a novel way of proving it.
I reckon this is about a 1/20th scale model. It's about 2-ish metres in diameter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the scale model. Trick. Some work's gone into that.
This bike actually it doesn't stay up in this track because you need a brain to hold a bike upright.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas a car, you don't need a brain to drive a car. Okay, as you know. So we'll run this now. There we go. You can hear it running.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. It's quite hypnotic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It gives Guy a feel for what it's going to be like in this space to go around. There's one moment when Guy looked through the little hole, you see it and the lights in the background. You kind of blur your eyes a bit and you think, God, I'm there, I'm standing in the wall of death. You can feel the G.
You can see it moving the wall, you see it now? Moving the wall.
Yeah. It was a very, very comforting exercise. And you could see Guy was looking at it saying, yeah, I can do that.
Honestly, I've no worries. Honestly, I'm not bothered. I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, we'll be right. Honestly, and like talking to you today has filled me full of confidence. Full of confidence. Full of confidence. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Thanks for your help. You're coming to watch though, aren't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't miss it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Spot on. Spot on. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. In here.
But then the project was completely derailed. On the 6th of August 2015, just 2 months before the planned record attempt, Guy crashed at the world's fastest road race, the Ulster Grand Prix.
So yeah, first race on Thursday.
Watch the lights and away we go.
I think I got a bad start, but I plugged my way through. Got up. I think within a lap I was leading.
This is it then, the last lap.
Look behind me, and the lad that was pushing me is Bruce Anstey, and he's good round there. He's from New Zealand. I had to make sure I had a perfect run out of islands, so he couldn't pass me.
Oh, Martin's down. Guy Martin's gone off on the islands. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one.
At the time, that's knocked me out. Next thing I know, I wake up in hospital. Maybe an hour later, I think. And that's it. The rest of it's a blur, really. The rest of it's a bit of a blur.
Unbelievable. And is that a red flag? It's been red flagged.
Nothing dramatic about it. I'm not like, oh, thank, you know, I wasn't thanking anyone for being alive. I just thought, well, if I'd have been dead, I'd have been dead and I wouldn't know about it, really. But I'm all right. I'm all right. I know during the crash I went through a lot of mud, but look at the state of that. Well, obviously it saved my bacon. It saved the bacon, hey? And I've still got my marbles. I brought 2 metacarpals in there, which they've screwed together. You see the scar on it? But that's got 20 odd screws in there. I couldn't believe it until I saw the x-rays. I brought the sternum, and then I think about 4 or 5 ribs. And my back, I broke about 4 vertebrae. So there's 2 rods that are a bit shorter than the scar, and probably 10 screws. Cheers, boy. Is that? Yeah. That's the first time I've seen that really properly. Yeah. See, what's caused what damage there? You see, there's not a lot of movement out of me, is there? But they're not long putting the red flag out there. Yeah. I'll watch that again. I'm looking at that now and I think, ooh. I'm all right. I'll have to fight another day. The accident was on the Thursday, operated on the Friday. I walked on the Saturday morning. I said, I wanted to be out Sunday. I said, oh, God, I'm just thinking, all I wanted to do was just get back. And the first thing was wall of death.
It took 6 months of rehabilitation before Guy's doctors would allow wall of death training to resume.
All right, mate. Oh, a cup of tea would be mint, mate.
Nobody knew if he'd have lost his hard-won tolerance to the dizziness.
Faster! Lower! It's catching up a bit quick, isn't it?
A walk. It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know, when was the last time I rode? 3 months? 4 months?
Yeah.
Was it, what time was it? When was we here last? When was the last time I rode the wall? January. 6 months.
Yeah, the heart's going like that, isn't it? Right?
I forgot
The heart's going like that. You're not breathing properly, but then on top of that, you've got the petrol fumes, which is it's all not nice.
Yeah.
So a bit of fresh air, get that adrenaline down.
Ooh. Yeah. Cheers, boy. Thank you.
No problem.
Cheers, mate. Yeah. Spot.
Over the next few weeks, Guy stepped up his training. Ken Fox's son Luke watched over some sessions and witnessed the moment Guy truly mastered riding the wall.
that's about maximum this wall will take. This wall. It's getting a lot of movement, yeah. Right, bike was right, wasn't it? Yeah, sounded nice. Yeah, it's fine, mate. All right. Felt all right, yeah? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Guy was ready to ride the big wall, which was coming along nicely.
This is the biggest point of it for me. I thought, this standing in the middle, I just thought, my God, how's that ever going to happen? I thought, all right. But there's some work in that, isn't there?
Although 60 miles per hour would get him a Guinness World Record, Guy's dream was to hit 80 miles per hour, which would mean completing the 235-metre lap in just 3 seconds.
1, 2, 3. That's 80 miles an hour. 3 seconds. What are you worried about?
The extremely high G-forces acting on Guy during the record attempt would make him and his bike weigh nearly 3 tons. Every single point of the wall had to be able to cope with that kind of weight, so each of the 1.5 miles worth of wooden planks was specially selected for their load-bearing capability.
Oh, the quality of the work. It's where they fasten the containers together, all that woodwork. Oh, dear. We're not doing much for a carbon footprint, are we? Hey?
Meanwhile, at a workshop in Bury St Edmunds, a motorcycle was being prepared by bike mechanic Curly Porter.
When we first got the details of the wall, we just went, that's massive. It's fun, but it's frightening at the same time, thinking that something that I've built is going to hopefully break the world record.
The traditional Wall of Death motorcycle is an Indian Scout, and the modern-day 1133cc version needed its suspension stiffened and power boosted to turn it into a potential history maker. But even with its modifications, nothing about the outcome was certain.
I don't even need to think about, would I give it a go? Really, no. No, not a chance. He's mad. Not all there.
Backstage, Guy prepared to ride the Indian Scout for the first of 2 record attempts that evening. But nature was calling.
Can I just go for a pace?
Oh, yeah.
What time? How much time we got? How much time we got, mate?
Say again?
How much time we got?
How long left on this VT? Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute now. So it's
Just piss me, sir.
Are we going to do this?
So Guy and his full bladder entered the arena ready to try and hit the 60 miles per hour benchmark that would earn him a world record.
So this is it. Once they're in and that door is shut, there is no going. That's an ominous noise. There is no going back. In just a few minutes, we'll see Guy Martin try to add to his already impressive tally of speed records by riding a motorbike around the largest wall of death the world has ever seen.
Guy's first laps were deliberately slow and kept to the angled ramp of the enormous wall.
This very much a familiarisation run, really, to get a feel for the bike and the tyres and the conditions.
He then stopped so mentor Ken Fox and mechanic Cammy could check the tyres and bike.
Tyres are nice.
Yeah, he's smart. Oh, that'll make it now. Right.
Hold on, mate. Not too fast, but take it, get yourself settled down.
For the second stint, the plan was to slowly increase speed and get comfortable on the vertical wall before stopping and making the record attempt on a 3rd run. But with the adrenaline flowing, Guy actually did enough to get in the record books while riding one-handed.
He's just done it! 60 miles an hour left-handed out! And he's testing the limits of himself already, but he's already broken the world record, 60.1 miles an hour on his first proper go.
Guy came back in to gather himself.
So will he go again, I wonder?
I didn't want him to do it again. I thought, look, you've done it now. You don't need to do it again.
Guy had other ideas.
Go a little bit faster. How long a run? Not as long as that.
Right, shorter, faster.
Suddenly the track, it gets narrower. You look at it and you think, ah, oh, huge, great big track, it's fantastic. But when you see the bike going on the red line, you just realise just how little space there is. If he goes up too high and he hits the barrier at the top, I mean, if he does that at 70 miles an hour, he's seriously hurt. There's a collective gasp and you feel, but you're standing on top of this track. You feel the vibration of it. It's like, you know, it's like being on a bridge when a train runs by.
How much more is there in the tank from Guy Martin?
The vibration in the air, through your feet, through your ears. And then he just does that little push to go a little bit faster. And you think, oh no. Oh, it's great.
70, he's hit 70, that's 5.2 G, 70.3 miles an hour. Well done, Guy Martin, and the crowd here in Lincolnshire love that one.
Guy had smashed his own world record. But there was only one thing on his mind.
I need a pee. I need a pee.
Unfortunately, he was immediately needed for a live interview. It was the latest chapter in a motorcycling story that had begun 30 years ago.
His first thing with motorbikes, we bought him a TY80 for his Christmas box and set him on it, said, now just ease the clutch out and a bit of throttle, boy. It was flat out, clutch out, round the side of the bungalow at the footpath, in the rose bushes. His mother said that's the last time he rides a motorbike. And here we are. Look what he's doing.
Guy, the question is, did you get a world record? There's only one lady here who can confirm that. If it has happened, that's Sophia. Over to you.
Come on, lass, what do you reckon?
Well, I've spoken to the specialists, and with a total of 70.33 miles per hour, that is a brand new Guinness World Records title. Congratulations!
How does that feel? Yet another world record to your name. Tom, did it feel like you were going that fast out there?
To be honest, I wouldn't have wanted much more.
Okay.
Wouldn't have wanted much more. My head didn't, but my bladder. I don't know if you have any trouble with G with your bladder. I don't know, that's a bit of a new thing to me.
What bladder issues were you having? Did you need to...
I don't know if I'm...
Wee-wee?
Wee, I don't know. I don't know. But now I'm here, I don't know.
So he's going for a wee.
10 minutes later, under the grandstand, Guy was able to take his natural break. But the evening wasn't going to stop there. Guy was convinced he could go even faster on a second attempt, using an oddball bike he built himself.
The contraption, I think, should do the job. Yeah.
But trying to go faster would mean having to withstand even more G-force, and that would mean relying on training that had taken Guy to the limit. Guy Martin's Wall of Death was transmitted live on television to an audience of millions. But none of them were aware of the secret mechanic Cammy Whitworth revealed behind the scenes.
I was rather cold in this aircraft hangar yesterday, so I've got Guy's cycling suit on underneath. But because of the leather padding, because of the saddle, feels like I'm wearing a sanitary towel or a nappy. But it's done the trick, but he said, we're boxers, he said, because I got foot and mouth on my testicles.
Guy had already completed a record-breaking 70 miles per hour run, but he revealed how the G-forces involved had led to a loss of sight.
The vision is the thing, yeah. The vision, it's the greying out here. We only put that red line on at the 11th hour, really, because if anything goes wrong, when I start losing the vision, I don't know where I am. I don't know if I'm at the top of the wall or bottom of the wall. I do not know where I am. So at least now, when I start greying out, I've got that red line as a bit of a reference point.
The viewers then saw how Guy had trained to cope with high G-forces, with a ride in the 215 miles per hour plane of stunt pilot Mark Greenfield.
Now, like me, you're a bloke, and therefore, by definition, have a pathetic, fragile male ego. At any stage, if you feel uncomfortable, this is the key phrase, I want you to practice it. Mark, I'd like a rest. Can you say that,
Mark,
please?
I'd like a rest.
Brilliant, congratulations. That's the hardest part of the flight.
Mark, I'd like a
That's
rest.
the hardest part of the flight.
Mark, I've had enough. Was it that, or was it something else? You've been flying 35 years.
I have.
And every display you do, you put your 9 point what G? You put it every time you're in.
Plus 9.5 and minus about 5.5, 6 G.
Mac, I'm not okay. Was that what he said? No, he didn't say that. How did he say it?
The plan was to put Guy through a series of spiral turns, increasing the G-force each time.
Squeezing back to 6, so that's 4 G.
I just felt like my neck wanted to give way, and this was only 4G.
Okay, how was that?
Yeah. The vision went slightly down.
Then we went for the next one for about 5G.
There we go.
Ooh.
How was that? Well, still okay. The vision was closing in.
Then they hit 6G.
Embrace the lower half of your body. That's 6G.
How was that? Again, a little bit blurry, but yeah, okay, no problem.
Good stuff, well done.
Guy coped so well that Mark decided to push the next run to 7G.
I need to get put into this position where I'm passing out. It's no good, I feel a bit uncomfortable. We need to go down and have a bit of a breather. None of that business. Come on, let's have it. Let's have it.
Ready, Guy?
Okay.
This is it. This is the 7G.
It was all right. It was all right. It was all right. I wasn't all right. I nearly threw up.
As we worked harder through the trip, Guy was able to build up his tolerance to sit there at 7G, and that's a big score. Well done.
That felt better.
Fantastic. You did well there. I think your tolerance is building up, which is great.
Thank you.
But after some extreme aerobatics, which went up to 8G,
Oh, yes.
it was clear they'd found Guy's limit.
Matt landed it, brilliant landing, taxied in, but it was a bit rough, and that nearly set me off. It's a long time since I've thrown up, but I know what the feeling is. Oh, no. No, don't now. No, I've been through all of that. Oh, I was nearly reaching for the sick bag. But I had a word with myself, Martin. Pull yourself together. Pull yourself together, Martin. You see, when I got out of the plane and walked off, I was a bit second-hand.
Guy did everything he could to boost his G-force tolerance, including learning the special breathing techniques used by RAF fighter pilots.
Better and relax.
It takes some getting used to, that, while trying to ride a motorbike, while trying to tense my legs, while trying to tense my backside. Yeah.
Which is why we practice.
And backstage, he rode on his turbo trainer during the commercial breaks in a bid to keep his heart rate high and be better prepared for the physical stress of each record attempt. The live program continued.
Okay, stand by, Steve. 6, 5 seconds.
With Guy introducing the homemade bike he was going to use for his second attempt.
We're very, very noisy. Time for the second attempt, and that's going to happen on a new bike. Guy, I believe you built this in your shed.
In the shed, mate. In the shed. I sort of got the wheels in it, and then I had Shazza strapped to it. I used to cable tie to her in different places and take pictures of her. Because I knew how a bike and how you needed to sit on a bike for a wall of death, just taking pictures of her. Right, what position do her legs need to be in, do her arms need to be in? And we're about the same sort of size.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's why we've ended up with bars.
I don't watch his TV programmes, and tonight was the first time I kind of stood beside him listening to him talk, and I just said, we sat down on the couch, and I was like, you just light up. He's just incredible. Absolutely. And you can tell, like, he just talks completely from the heart. He gibbers on, doesn't he? But we love him for it, you know.
It had taken Guy months to build the BSA motorcycle. This was one homemade machine with particular significance for him.
Why this bike? There's loads of reasons. There's loads of reasons I want to use this bike. This is the first race bike I ever rode. My dad spent 10 years building his bike. Not this exact one, but one the same. And then he let me ride it. I was only 16, so yeah, it was the best thing ever. It was a massive thing for him to let me ride that bike because it meant so much, and he'd spent so much time and money on it to build the thing, and he trusted me on it. I was only 16, so yeah, it means a lot. The first ever race bike I've rode. Yeah, Rob North Rocket 3. Yeah, Rob North, he was like he wasn't mad. They'll call him mad, don't they? It was just an English frame builder that built special racing frames, late 60s, early 70s. And this is a replica of, this isn't built by Rob North, this is a replica of a Rob North frame. It was built last year by a bloke in Birmingham, in Dudley. Les Wiston, he's called. Les gets all the tubes bent, and he has an old 80-year-old fella coming to weld them up. You'll see him. He lives on a narrowboat, and he's welded 600 of these frames together. He's been welding them up since the 60s. Legend. I'm sure there'll be 101 manufacturers wanting to give you a support crew and all the backup in the world you needed. I don't want to do it like that. That's not the way we do things. I'd rather build it in the shed. This isn't made up. This isn't a TV set, is it? This is my shed at home. We've got bloody cars in bits. We've got motorbike engines all over the place. Just build it in the shed. Build it in the shed. Just mad about it. And it's just a bit different. It's not the norm, is it? But then riding the wall of death's not the norm. It's far from the norm. So, yeah, this bike suits the occasion perfectly. It's a bit more me. And it looks trick.
There was 100 hours work in the engine alone. Completing it had dominated Guy's life.
I don't get to see him an awful lot. He goes to work in the morning at 5 o'clock, comes home, we have a cup of tea, we eat for about 15 minutes, and he's back in the shed. And the only time I go see him is when I'm bringing in a cup of tea, just to make sure everything's all right. One night I thought he'd gassed himself because he was right? We'd started it up, had an argument about the wheel starter, and then the room was filling with fumes. So we opened all the windows, and then I said, right, I'm going to bed. And he goes, yeah, I'll be up in 20 minutes. He says, grand. 2 hours later, I jumped out of bed going, oh my God, he's probably dead, ran down the stairs, and he was all right. He was just still tinkering with something.
And what he was tinkering with became his finest engineering achievement to date.
Yes, it's a beautiful bike. Yeah, he's excelled himself now. Somehow he's hit a sweet spot. Like when he explained about Sharon, like with the feet in different places, and he wanted the bars there. So it's like when he's tensed and he goes for the big one, he needs his arms locked, he needs his legs, his feet in a certain position just to go like that, and then he sticks his tongue in the top of his mouth and go for 3 seconds, and that's the lap.
There'd just been one issue during practice. With no rev counter, Guy and Cammy had no idea when they were running the engine at its limit, so they improvised, using the instincts of Guy's dad.
We have a rev counter. He's 64-year-old, and he's at the back of the bike there. He's deaf as a bat, and he told us it was going 7,500, and there were another 2,000 to go. Would you argue with that man?
Yeah, I've grown up with these bikes, from 1970. Yeah, so I nearly know them inside out, yeah. Beautiful engine, and so guys picked the dead rate bike. Yeah. In 2 years, from 1970 to 72, they actually won everything in the world. The TT, Daytona in America, all the big races, Race of the South, Race of the Year at Mallory. Yeah, they won everything, BSAs, yeah.
Was Guy's bike about to add to that proud legacy?
Let's get this bike in there, Guy. I want to see it on that wall.
Come on.
Here we go. Best of luck, Guy. Best of luck, everyone. Guy, I'm going to come in as well. I'm going to come in too. Fast cool, yeah?
All right.
Oh, wow. It's like being at the Coliseum.
Guy was focused, and once again, the plan was first to circulate slowly on the angled ramp to make sure the bike was running well. He came back for his crew to check the bike.
Look nice, look good.
Give it a beat, Jake. All right?
Wake the tyres on.
The second run was all about Guy getting used to the vertical section once again, before attempting to beat his own 70.33 miles per hour record.
And just said, nice and peaceful, as I always do. At the end of the day, it's your mate up there, isn't it? And in there, if it went wrong, God knows what happened.
When it goes offline, then you really think, nah, this can go wrong. I've just got that empty feeling in my stomach.
Was Guy about to push it too far in his quest for even more speed? At 8:26 p.m. on March the 28th, 2016, Guy Martin set off on his biggest ever challenge to try and set a new speed record for riding on a wall of death as part of a live television program.
Here we go, listen to the revs rising. This is so exciting.
This was the last of his scheduled runs. One final chance to risk blacking out and wind the throttle on to try and beat his own 70 miles per hour record.
Look at the vibrations on his body. The G-force is mounting. 78. It's getting towards 6.5 G. Can he go quicker than that? I think he's done 78 miles an hour. He comes down off the wall. The crowd love that one. He hasn't just broken the record. He's absolutely smashed it.
Halfway round that record lap, Guy swerved violently as if he'd momentarily blacked out. He'd endured 6.69 G. In his stunt plane training, that had caused greying out, nausea and extreme fatigue. But without pausing to recover, he was determined to go for another run.
Okay, going again. Go again, but for a very short time, one lap at a bit of speed, all right?
Wow, here we go. Unexpected. We thought it was going to be only 3 runs.
Guy accelerated hard. His girlfriend and mother could hardly watch.
His body's ready for it. His mind is ready for it. The bike is ready for it. It's just him against the clock. Listen to the revs rising. He's pushing it harder than ever now. Look at the vibrations on the wall. Here we go, 78.1. He's right where he was before. Can he get to 80? No, he can't. He's coming back off the wall. An absolutely heroic attempt, though. 78 miles an hour, the new world record, the fastest ever speed on a wall of death.
He'd matched the incredible 78.1 miles per hour of the previous run, but in the heat of the moment, wanted to try and beat it once again.
We'll go again. 78, that is extraordinary.
The crowd cheered for more.
He looked a little bit spaced out to me. I don't think another run was would have been a good thing, to tell you the truth.
With safety paramount, it was decided to prevent another run from happening.
Guys, we can't go again. We got it. 78. It's amazing. No, we can't go again. You got it.
Guy revved the bike defiantly, but the fact was he'd set yet another world record and had become the undisputed fastest wall of death rider of all time. Once the cameras stopped rolling, all Guy wanted to do was thank everyone who'd made the record possible.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Maybe the GB with
Thanks for your time, mate. And the brains. Cheers, Tom. Thanks for the effort, mate. Thank you, mate. Cheers, Matt. I haven't brought the bloody lighter, mate. We'll do it next time. I know. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Right.
Oh, proudest bloke on the planet. Yeah. Another world record to his name. It's amazing, isn't it?
The programme finished a quarter of an hour ago. You'd think, wouldn't you, everyone goes out on the lash. No. Strip down. All hands on deck. I'm impressed. I like a bit of that.
We're going back to Guy's and we're just going to have a couple of beers. He's going, well, keep morning.
Hopefully, I'll be in bed for midnight. Up at 5, work at 6. Thank you, boy.
It was straight back to business as usual for Guy. But how did he feel about the project, with the benefit of hindsight?
Yeah, I got away with it. Lucky. I thought in a week's time I'd be thinking, God, I'll be more mad in a week's time that you didn't let me go.
78, it's amazing. No, we can't go again.
But no, the more time that passes, the more I think, I was lucky, you did exactly the right thing. Because I genuinely could not see. You couldn't see what I could see, which was nothing. But I was very, very lucky to get away with that. Very lucky. That could have been so messy so soon. But it's all right, we did it, we broke the record, which is great. No one's going to beat that in a hurry. World's fastest wall of death rider. Yeah, great. And there's a bit of my brain goes, job done. And the next bit is like, right, what's the next plan?
Guy's back, and so is that amazing enthusiasm as he continues his Chinese tour. Rickshaw racing in Beijing tomorrow at 9. 9 o'clock on Tuesday, Tim and Fuzz get under the bonnet of a 1938 Singer Le Mans. That's New Car SOS. Here next, we're off to Ibiza for A Place in the Sun.